We know a lot of the specifics of the deal. We know that it's going to give him the authority to basically just shut down the border as is. It puts like a cap on the amount of people that can cross the border a day. So if it gets overwhelmed, that gives the president the authority to basically shut it all down. It's giving the Republicans a lot more than I thought he would have given them. A lot more. And progressives, there's probably progressives in the Democratic Party that are looking at this right now. And I'm thinking Ilhan Omar, AOC, probably like Julian Castro and more progressive-minded people who care about this issue specifically. There's no way they're not making a fuss behind the closed doors right now. But at the end of the day, if they're gonna like throw it out no matter what, then why not just, if the idea is that they're gonna throw it out, the more it gives them, the worse it looks for them. Definitely, if they're not gonna get this opportunity again, and in like 2 years from now, let's say Trump did get win an election, and he gets in there and he's like, yeah, I want to use all those powers we talked about before. The Democrats aren't going to approve the bill next time because it's not going to be bipartisan. You're not going to have the Ukraine leverage anymore. So there's going to be Senate Republicans who are going to be screaming at the top of their lungs in private meetings like, we will never get this opportunity again unless we control all 3 houses and have a supermajority. So we need to do this now and take this opportunity now.
It's wild because when you read it, Biden's giving them everything they're asking for. Like, yeah, when I saw that, like they're
not
gonna shut
literally everything, because
I mean, yeah, right, not everything, but the
they should have never
like,
expected that, and they never requested that at the start. They said, in order for you to do anything about Ukraine's border, you need to do something about our southern border. It's like, fine, here's a lot of your priorities. Here was stuff you were asking us for 3, 4, 5 years ago during the Trump administration. Here's powers you wanted the president to have. Here's stuff that you wanted. And now it's being rejected because, and now we're seeing it very clearly now. I don't know if you saw the Mitch McConnell private meeting that got leaked to the press, but he had a meeting saying that Trump basically is going around saying this deal needs to die because it goes against their campaign message, that he wants to run on the border. And if Biden was able to do anything on the border, that could either undercut why people are going to support his campaign or undercut his message. And so, therefore, he doesn't want there to be a deal. Now, in my mind, this is, if what Mitch McConnell said is true, and it seems from how other congressmen and senators are reacting to it, they're not reacting to it saying, their first thing was to go out and say, well, this doesn't mean it's dead. This doesn't mean the deal is dead. And the fact that that was the first thing they ran to say, instead of, no, this is a lie, or this is just Mitch McConnell trying to add pressure on Donald Trump, which I've heard some people try to say, leads me to believe that I think it's probably true what was said in that meeting. And if that is the case, then that means that Donald Trump, who ran back in 2015 on a curbing specifically also undocumented immigration policy, is going to take a legislative loss when it comes to what powers he could have in a future administration, or a president could have in a future administration, to try to stem the flow of what he thinks is his number one issue and has been his number one issue for the entirety of his time in mainstream politics. He's willing to let that take an L if it means Biden takes an L politically. It's completely partisan. It disregards what Republicans have said was their priority. It disregards what Republicans said was their priority in these negotiations, as well as what is the priority of their constituents, as well as what is the priority of their donors, and what they have been screaming from their lungs and from the rooftops has been their priority for decades, which is trying to curb illegal immigration, undocumented immigration, whatever you want to call it. And they're willing to sacrifice that if it means pleasing Donald Trump. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's happy about it. There are Senate Republicans that are not happy about it. Mitch McConnell being one of them, Lindsey Graham being another.
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney's another. I know Dan Crenshaw was also making some noise about it. Senator Lankford, who was the one who's engaging in negotiations, they're making noise about it. But at the end of the day, it needs to pass the House. And if it's going to pass the House, that means Mike Johnson whipping people in the House to get it through. And if Mike Johnson was to whip people to get it through, at this point, there's a decent chance, while he might be able to achieve that, definitely with Democratic support as well, that could then immediately be followed by a recall vote and then be Mike Johnson's political end. And then we'd have more Republican chaos. Now, personally, the idea of us passing Ukraine aid and then immediately having the Republican Party collapse, to me, that's beautiful. But that's because I got that plushie right there, right? to them, that's pretty terrifying, especially since there's a lot of people already asking, well, should we allow them to keep the House since they've done nothing with it? But then there's another angle here, which I know Chip Roy has talked about, even though he's not a supporter of this. What are they going back to their districts saying that they've done this session? What has the House done since the Republicans took the House back in 2022? Does anybody know? Any legislative priorities that anybody wants to point to that was accomplished in trying to find a solution to something? Nothing. They've achieved nothing. And Chip Roy's complained about it. Other legislators complained about it. Is that when they go back to their districts, they don't know what to say that they've done outside of like, well, we almost impeached Joe Biden. Like what?
Almost.
Yeah,
we almost
do it. Yeah, we almost did. We scared him for a second, didn't we, guys? Like this. So, in one angle, I think this is also the position of Lankford, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, Dan Crenshaw, and those types. They're of the position that we're never going to get this opportunity again, and we've done nothing all session. And on top of it, for them, this also helps a priority that they care about, which is supporting Ukraine. I think Dan Crenshaw said, does Trump want Putin to win more than he wants to deal with the border? That was Dan Crenshaw's reaction, which I think it's less that, and I think it's more Trump wants to win more than he cares about the border, cares about Ukraine, cares about fucking anything, because his whole campaign message is revenge.
That's exactly what it is. It's 100%. And then I also have a question for you when you're saying this, and you're laying it out so eloquently. But I have somebody that is very intelligent in my chat. I'm going to say that they're the top of the top, called iRot Gaming, and they say, "But Dylan, this is just Democrat Party talking points."
You know,
what do you say to that?
Look, I don't know why anyone would think that I'm a Democrat. Yeah, I have no idea why anyone would think that. But see, I got the Democrat here, but I got Mike Pence there chilling. I'm letting him vibe here after he lost. And he lost pretty bad, man. Not even his own kids voted for him. So I'm letting him crash here. I'm letting him get fucked up. We're having a great time. See, I'm bipartisan. I'm a bipartisan guy. Look, I am left wing, but when let's talk about some things that are bipartisan. Dan Crenshaw is a Republican. Senator Lankford, Republican. Mitch McConnell is the Grim Reaper of Republican legislation. Really? He is the Grim Reaper, and he knows the Grim Reaper pretty personally at this point.
He wrote the Republican Tabernacle, like that. The Republican ideology, Mitch McConnell like etched it into stone.
I'm pretty sure if you look at the, they actually covered up. They used one of those like whiteout things to take his name off of the Declaration of Independence when we were founding this country. He is old dog Republican. Same with Lindsey Graham. All of them want to send aid to Ukraine, and they understand that this is an opportunity that the Republicans are not going to get again. I'm just going to ask straight up to anybody who thinks this is a Democrat talking point, because I just think this is political reality. What would ever motivate the Democrats to give Donald Trump this type of power when the Ukraine leverage won't be here in a year? Definitely if their solution is abandoning the Ukrainians. Why would they want to reward them abandoning what is a Democratic policy priority, which is supporting the Ukrainians, at least for the party, at least when it comes to two parties, is more of a priority for them? For me, it doesn't make sense how they're going to be able to get it outside of controlling all three houses and getting a supermajority, since a lot of these changes require a supermajority. And that means 60 votes in the Senate. And I don't care how amazing you think Trump's going to do in this election, he's not getting 60 Senate votes.
Dylan, didn't Donald Trump hold all three branches, and
he never ever had 60 Senate votes.
Didn't he only get one major piece of legislation out though, like during that time where he had all of it?
He did massive tax breaks.
That was it. That was
tax
the only
breaks
one. Just the one.
That was, well, there were other things, but that was the major thing. That was basically the big one. There were other attempts, like he tried to destroy Obamacare with no replacement. That failed due to Senator John McCain, which I think is part of the reason why he didn't like John McCain all that much. But he didn't. A lot of his priorities he didn't get through. The vast majority of his promises he didn't deliver on. And while it is true that politicians, on average, don't deliver on the promises, he made a lot of promises. And like some of the promises, I think are, stuff you kind of can disregard out of hand. Like, I'm going to eliminate all of our debt in 4 years. Like that's, like, it's just at that point, you're just spinning tails. But a lot of the promises, the stuff that would have been more attainable, like for example, him saying he was going to bring about paid family leave. He was the first Republican candidate for president who openly endorsed paid family leave because Hillary did. And he wanted to see if he could outflank her a tiny bit. was in office? Did he ever even try? Did he even attempt? No. So he did get some things through, but I think due to a lack of experience, and a lack of support, just wasn't able to get much done. Not to mention, I think having a constantly rotating staff is probably not helpful.
Wait, like when you're firing your staff a lot.
Yes, or they're leaving.
Not being loyal enough, or just leaving because of the situation, right? 2018 was a good wake up for that. But I'm just asking that because it's like they're hoping for to control all the branches.
By the way, I love talking to Republicans. I love talking to people I disagree with. I find it boring talking to people I only agree with on everything. So people want to challenge my perspective on this. I'm happy to have it challenged.
I got a bunch of comments.
Let me put it this way: I was uncomfortable with the Biden deal originally because I'm very open about the fact that I like the idea of capping the amount of refugee application or stuff that I'm hearing rumors about. That stuff scares me because in principle I'm against it. But due to the circumstances and just my investment I have into what's going on in Ukraine, I was willing to bend myself a little bit for compromise in order to get the support to Ukraine. And so that's my position on this. And so knowing that's my position with how much I care about Ukraine, and I was still uneasy about this type of compromise, how does anyone possibly think you're going to convince the Democrats to do this under different circumstances in the near future with Trump in office? That's the thing. That's my main point, is how are the Republicans letting this opportunity pass them by? Is it simply for Trump's electability? And if he doesn't get voted in office in a few years, that means you did literally nothing with your 2 years in the House, outside of had Hunter Biden like Joshua in front of the whole country.
Yeah, it's insane, right? You're telling the American people that they're suffering. There's an invasion at the southern border, but actually we're going to table it and let y'all deal with it. By the way,
this is a great example of the whole invasion rhetoric. If the Ukrainians were fighting an invasion, and let's say the American government was like, well, we were going to give you 200 tanks, but we can only. But here's a compromise. We're going to give you 100 tanks. Would the Ukrainians be like, no, I'm not going to accept that until you have a new election, and then we'll do this other. No, they'd take it because an invasion, like there's a national question of existence that is being question marks being put out, that you're in danger. Your lives of your people are dying. It's horrific. But now we're coming over the border, and Biden's like, oh, we can do this thing to help deal with this problem in a major way. And you're willing to disregard it for partisanship? It doesn't sound like it's an invasion of the same style or should be compared in this way. If one side we're seeing the Ukrainians act with urgency, taking everything they can to deal with the issue because it's a question of national survival. And over here, the Republicans are like, well, since you didn't give us literally everything we wanted and it helps our guy, yeah, sure, we'll let another year of untitled migration flow in. Yeah.
But the comparisons too are.
Could you imagine we'll let the Russian tanks roll in for a year. Yeah, we'll just kind of just sit there.
Yeah, just let it go as long as our guy gets elected. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah.
It's disgusting by.
Don't worry, guys. Arestovich 2025 gonna win.
Arestovich. No, I'm still banking on your man Vivek, bro. Vivek's got it.
Yeah, Vivek. He's gonna come out of nowhere, man. Well, here's a question actually. Let's say Trump croaked tomorrow. He just fell over and went. I know it sounds like a crazy thing, but it isn't. He's pretty up there. Biden's up there. Could happen to anybody really at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think would end up being the Republican nominee? I mean, Haley's the first person that comes to mind, of course, but there's also there'll be a big void in the MAGA movement who like, we don't want Haley no matter what. Who do you think would end up filling that void? Because I think it might be Vivek. If it's Vivek and Ron head to head, I actually don't know who would fill up that void or attempt to fill up that void.
I don't know. I think there might be an extra little energy there to prevent Vivek from getting anywhere in the Republican Party, if you know what I mean. But beyond that, I don't know, because it's like, I mean, Don Jr.
That would be the saddest path.
But they're on a sad path already. Like it's not getting. This is coming from a former Republican. I've been through that shit. So Don Jr. maybe it's got to be someone within that's connected in the MAGA world. Like if they're not, they're irrelevant now at this point.
Yeah, I'm thinking
whoever's up there in the populism, look at
Harry Lake or Vivek. I think Harry Lake might throw her hat in there. Who knows?
Tucker Carlson, bro. You're crying out loud. Like there's nothing that's gonna like they have to be MAGA or a propagandist or a populist that wants to lead
Donald
America
Trump
into
Jr. would
isolationism.
make a go for it. You'd
Oh, of course he
100% make a
would.
go for it.
He has his name. He keeps
Yeah,
the
I
name
mean,
and
that's an
everything.
advantage over every single opponent that just cannot be pushed away.
Yep. He can
But
keep
if
the
it was,
Trump name,
dude,
which-
who do you think would have a better chance? Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr. versus Biden? I think Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump Jr.
Donald
is just
Trump,
sad
yeah.
because
Junior's
Donald Trump's
sad.
already
He'll
kind of
be
a
a
fail
leech.
son a little bit, but Donald Trump Jr. is a fail son's fail son. And so it's kind of like being inbred. Like when you're at a certain level of like fail son, it gets so bad it's impossible to ignore. Once you're at like the third or fourth or fifth level of like Hasbird and like inbred, like and the teeth start getting fucked up and their eyes start twitching, like you can't ignore it anymore. And it's the same thing when it comes to Don Jr. When you see him in these pictures after poaching animals and stuff, he seeps of it. He seeps of silver spoon. And I think that would end up hurting him. And even though Trump, of course, covers everything in gold, there's a humor to him, there's a personality of him that just Don Jr. doesn't have. He's just sad. And that's why I think he'd probably do worse than Trump.
His jaw is taking him places, but I agree. Yeah, he's Donald Trump is the guy. Right? He holds the name. I even think Donald Trump would rather keep himself on life support at the very end. Like even if he was like or attempted to be taken out, he'd probably keep himself alive, or just like I don't know, keep himself a vegetable, but can still have like an AI run his ideology for him, so that way Donald Jr. won't take power. But
God, could you imagine Trump GBT runs for president?
Don't give him ideas, Dylan. I almost laughed there, but honestly, you just gave the red pill.
So it would just be, those like YouTube videos where people like AI have Trump and Biden debate or like play video games and all that. It would just be that, but for the presidency for real though. So it's gonna be Trump. This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna be like, fine, we're finally done with Trump and Biden, these old guys. And then the DNC and the RNC are gonna come out with this new program, and it's gonna be Trump v. Biden 2028, Trump v. Biden 2032. It's gonna be great.
Oh my God, we are actually heading that way. Did you see the new Ben Shapiro?
I did see I saw his raps. What was it? It was Yes, I'm Epic.
Oh no, this is called Fact. Oh wait, he's in multiple songs?
Well, no. I'm trying to think of the lyrics in the song. Ben Shapiro.
Oh Jesus.
Ben Shapiro rap song. It's Tom McDonald song, right? Tom McDonald rap song lyrics. I gotta find it.
Yeah, it's cringe. It's cringier than cringe. It's like we're in post cringe. We're in post cringe era now, chat. By the way, because
it's a real Facts. There it is. Okay, the song's Facts.
Oh, yeah, it's Facts.
Okay, here it is.
Tom McDonald and Ben Shapiro.
Yes. Okay, one second. Let me find the Ben. No, one second. Can I just read the lyrics? Can I just read the Ben Shapiro lyrics here?
Just
okay.
Yeah.
Let's look.
Hold on. I'm gonna play Ben Shapiro silently, without any song, without any lyrics in the background. Will you sing it? All right, go ahead, or read it. Go ahead.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo. My pockets are fat. Homie, I'm epic. Don't be a wap. Dog, it's like a Yermical homie. No. Sorry. Dog, it's like a Yarmulke homie. No cap. Look at the graphs.
No cap.
It's Yarmulke. I don't know. It's some Jewish thing I don't know how to pronounce. Look at the graphs. Look at my charts. You're blowing money on strippers and cars. You're going to prison. I'm on television. Dog, no one knows who you are. Keep hating on me on the internet. My comment section all woke Karens. What was that supposed to was Karen supposed to rhyme with you are? Okay, sorry.
He was probably trying to, yeah, go ahead.
I make racks off compound interest. Y'all live with your parents. Nikki, take some notes. I just did this for fun. All my people download this. Let's get a Billboard #1.
It's like
it's like
a nursery rhyme.
I don't mean to disappoint you, but they did not get #1.
No. I do like Ben Shapiro wearing like a Dare sweatshirt with facts on it though, and it says "Don't care about your feelings." Like that's chills. Honestly, I've actually put my money on that sweatshirt immediately. And also, you got Tom McDonald that's wearing "I don't care if I offend you." So,
yeah,
definitely edgy.
Very good. What I always wanted was more raps about compound interest. That's what I was thinking the rap game needed. I was like, rap, it shows the struggle on the streets and the difficulty that, men deal with in the urban lifestyle and compound interest, man. That's what we needed.
My favorite was the reaction to Tom McDonald linking with Ben was that he's selling out to elites because Ben Shapiro's Jewish.
That was
my favorite. That just shows you
horrible.
the internal split there. It's like an onion, dude. There's layers. You go so far, it's like, whoa, too far. Oh, you're linking with Ben Shapiro now? Yeah, he's right wing. We like what he has to say, but he's one of them. Type shit. Like, whoa. It's like it's a whole garbage infested pile with garbage in it. It's like a Russian fighting position, chat. Honestly,
I like how one of these lines is just look at the graphs, look at my charts, not look at my like money or racks or anything. It's like he addresses the money with compound interest. It's look at my graphs, just look at them. They're all in a positive direction.
Look at my facts.
He's gonna make it big in the rap game. He's gonna make it big.
Ben Shapiro, Billboard, dude. I didn't think he had it in him. I didn't think he'd be a major artist out here. But anyways, chat, I'm bringing this up, and Dylan, I clearly went through it already on his stream, because he's talking about having Donald Trump be ran by an AI, and we're not far off from that. Because you got Ben Shapiro in the rap game now.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know who wrote this for him. He didn't write that. If he wrote this, then,
no.
Actually, you know what? He did write. If somebody, honestly, I don't think Tom McDonald would be dumb enough to be like, I'm gonna get a Jew to rap on my album, and I'm gonna have him rap about compound interest. I don't think he'd be that stupid. So I think the odds is actually it probably was written by Ben Shapiro.
Especially since he has WAP in there. You know how he feels about WAP.
Yeah, he's probably waiting to get that out for a while. You know, after that not scandal, just kind of embarrassment of him complaining about that rap song.
Yeah.
So now we can see, by the way, where his critique from the rap game comes from. This is what he wanted. This is the good rap in comparison to WAP and what Nicki and the gang are putting out.
Oh, speaking of Ben Shapiro, Dylan, what the fuck happened to your Twitch after reacting to?
Yeah, I got banned on Twitch, so I'm demonetized on YouTube and I'm banned on Twitch. So you know I'm in a vulnerable position, I think, algorithmically. What happened was that I reacted to a debate between Destiny and Ben Shapiro, and
the same one I reacted to.
Yeah, you reacted to it. Hassan reacted to it, and Hassan had over 500,000 viewers or around 500,000 viewers that stream. I had 2,000 to 3,000 on Twitch. I got banned. He didn't. I'm not saying he should get banned. I'm just showing that this rule is very unequally applied, and it doesn't seem that fair. And I think the rule was always stupid because it has to do with ban evasion. If you show someone on your stream that's banned on Twitch, they'll ban you or they'll kick you off of it.
Because you played Destiny?
Yeah, because Destiny was on screen. Now, that doesn't mean I had Destiny on my stream. That doesn't mean I brought him on. It's just by him being on stream, that can get you kicked off. Now, what's interesting about this is when Donald Trump was banned on Twitch, there was a genuine question about whether or not we could actually even talk about the former president of the United States on Twitch. Wow. Now, Twitch never had the gall to enforce that and make people like get banned because they, watched Donald Trump give a speech about, hey, that insurrection thing was kind of stupid. He's a historical figure. It'd be ridiculous to request that. But for whatever reason, people got away on Twitch with watching Destiny, and that was kind of like the idea that was going around that you can get away with it. And I mean, Hassan did, but I didn't for whatever reason. So they chose to selectively enforce it, and I was the one that got hit, I guess.
That is ridiculous, dude, because you were just literally reacting to it, and they didn't, that was the reason too.
Yeah, no, it was because I reacted to it, because I mean, I wanted to watch it because I know Destiny and Ben talked about Ukraine, and I was disappointed with how that talk went, but I wanted to react to it.
Yeah, I texted you. I texted you after, right? As soon as we finished watching it.
Yeah, I've talked to Destiny about having a conversation with him about how that conversation went, because I wanted to sit down with him and just.
I wanted to jump in on his stream and hop in and just talk to him about it and be like, because I was a man, because he was like, I agree. He said, I agree with Ben's takes, and Ben was wrong immediately about expansionism.
Well, there was a few things that bothered me about that. If you wanted to, we can finish. Let's finish the thing about the ban, and then we can talk about that if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because my VOD actually got deleted, so my reaction to it and all that, I spent like an hour dissecting it, and now it's like just gone.
Bro, it's a long debate too.
Yeah, dude, no, it's over 2 hours. Yeah, it's over 2 hour debate. Yeah, it was very frustrating. But yeah, so I'm banned on Twitch until next week. So I'm gonna be back on Twitch, I guess, next Monday. But I'm still gonna be demonetized on YouTube probably for another 2 to 3 months. It's gonna all come together to be about $10,000 to $15,000 of potential revenue loss. I'm still paying the people to upload stuff on that too. So it's not only about the loss of potential revenue, but real revenue and the revenue they took originally out of my account for the ad money that was already the ads that were already playing on my channel. Yeah, I mean it sucks, but at this point I think, it's kind of almost funny now because it's just so much at the same time and like one after the other with the demonetization and then the ban on Twitch and then the demonetization being reiterated while they still haven't explained to me exactly why I'm demonetized or what I can do to change my channel. It's frustrating, but it's also got, you got to look at the humor in it.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. It's scary watching it happen too, because it's like no explanation from YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're
no.
live. I'm glad you're streaming on YouTube though. That's exciting.
I wish. Well,
Welcome to
yeah,
the
it's
YouTube
cool to
stream.
stream on YouTube. I just don't make any money.
Yeah.
I don't make any money streaming, and now I can't make any money streaming on Twitch. So we're gonna have to be streaming on Pornhub moving forward. I don't think they'll ban me there. It's kind of hard. I think it's kind of hard to break those terms of service.
People upload Call of Duty clips on that thing now, so I feel
People
like you
do.
could
I've
get
seen
smacked
people
up
do
on that.
Let's Plays on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
People do
through
porn Let's Plays
research.
on there too, which is like
Yeah.
they do Let's Plays naked. It's weird.
It's super
I don't
weird
really
on that
understand the
site.
appeal, but you do you.
I have no idea why people are uploading porn on my Call of Duty site. That's really
Like, are
weird.
people like that obsessed with like Breath of the Wild that they can't like put it down for 5 seconds to go just watch porn and then return to it? They have to integrate the two.
I'm dead. That's a different Breath of the Wild chat. Don't go looking up Breath of the Wild on Pornhub.
Don't do that.
You'll see something different. All right. So Dylan, monetization problems, also Twitch I looked it up your research. I looked up the history. You've been banned twice.
Yep.
You were banned in 2020 for 2 days, but
I was
you got it back.
banned for watching a debate between just like some candidates on CNN, and CNN is like really trigger happy when it comes to copyright strikes, and so they just they nabbed us on Twitch. Now on YouTube everyone was fine to do that, but I got nabbed on Twitch for that a while ago. So I don't get banned on Twitch often. And every time I do, it's for something. It's not because I like called for a death threat or something, right? Or something fun. It's always this dumb stuff and this.
It is stupid. It seems, and then you don't get any answers. So we got what are your options? What are you doing right now for monetization at all? Your website?
Well, right
I led a
now,
rebellion in your website yesterday too. By the way,
I
we were
appreciate
working
it.
for YouTube chat rights, and I was going to lead them out of the poverty that we were in on your YouTube chat, because site chat was getting all types of benefits.
Site chat gets all the benefits here. See, site chat.
I was leading a revolution in your chat.
Well, you don't need to organize them. They're ruffians. Have you looked at the skull shape of the people who hang out in YouTube chat? No, but
like coneheads.
if you want to, yeah, they're all coneheads. Yes. No, if their soft spot in the back of their head never went away. But no, if you guys want to support the channel, DylanBurns.tv is my website. You can go there. You can donate. Recurring subscriptions are always the best because then that's like how I could build my budget, because that's what I know I have to work off of. Or you could go to Patreon, DylanBurnsTV on Patreon to support us. Patreon has yet to, take me away for any violation. Let's wait. Maybe if more people find out about my Patreon, then they'll start getting reports.
Don't give them any ideas. That's exactly what I was wondering about.
Yeah, but yeah, those are the 2 ways you can support me.
I'm like in between.
Oh, and also my artillery documentary is going to be releasing probably by the end of this month, and I'm going to be releasing a piece with Loner Bucks on John Mearsheimer. John Mearsheimer is a realist scholar, a scholar of offensive realism. I mean, he's the one who's wrote most of the seminal works on offensive realism, and he's also a big. He speaks a lot about the war in Ukraine. He's made some predictions about it and talked about it in a way that I disagree with. And I wanted to call out a little bit. I think I'm gonna have fun doing it because we get to talk about somebody that's actually like a professor and a scholar, and we're not just talking about some like nitwit on Twitter. So that's cool.
Literally, that's why I hold them to a little higher standard too. And when they're regurgitating stuff that is like, whoa, it's like, bro, you're a professor. Hold on, no, you're academic. You're an academic person, so you get the smoke.
Yeah, no, when they slip up, it's
faith you all day.
Yeah,
you'll get
but it's so much. It's also 10 times more satisfying when you catch somebody slipping up, and
that's an academic.
It's so much. It's so much more fun. And we've caught, and we found. I mean, he slipped up pretty bad a few times. But if you guys want to find out about it, we'll be releasing that by the end of this month on Lonerbox's channel.
Okay, the big thing I got coming is an interview with a baker in Bucha when I was in Ukraine last. I interviewed a baker who built his bakery in like 2020 from hand during COVID, like
Wow.
built it by scratch and then
Like,
kept
how
it
big is
going
the
through the
bakery?
occupation. Bro, like can't even fit probably like 6 people in there, honestly. Not even. It was tough. Like we had to like walk inside where they're cooking it. There's enough room for like maybe like 3 people, but then it's all done outside, big ovens. Videos coming out by Tuesday, so it'll be out. It'll be awesome.
That's
But
awesome, man. I have some old
also,
footage of some like military chefs I interviewed. I never released it. I have so much stuff in it. I call it the vault. I got some hard drives linked up to a computer somewhere in Ukraine. I won't give anybody more instructions than that. It's got all my footage. I got so much I still got to release, but I'm saving it all for like I'm saving a lot of it for like a mega doc when everything's over. I want to put it all
yeah.
together. One of the major sorry if I'm rambling a little bit, but one of the major documentaries I liked growing up that got me interested in documentary filmmaking was Africa Oditos, also called Blood and Guts
Mhm,
Africa, and it's like a Mondo documentary, so it's not of like the highest academic quality,
mhm,
but I really liked the angle they went, which was during the period of decolonization as Africa was kind of like falling apart and then
mhm.
recreating itself, and national identities were springing up, and it was a beautiful time, but also a horrific time for violence. They went all across Africa to different countries and showed all the different aspects of it. So what I wanted to do was gather all the different oblasts I traveled across Ukraine and show all the different aspects of wartime Ukrainian society when the war's over, to show what it was like in different areas of the country and the different aspects of the fighting. Because
That's gonna be
I
huge.
wanted, yeah, I would like to do that. It would be a big project because there's a lot of oblasts, a lot of time I'd have to cover, but also it means that I can kind of have one mega project I can look towards, and I will say that's my documentary because that's the
Yep.
culmination of my work, and that's what I really want.
And it's going to be important too because we get information from Ukraine immediately, right? We get video documentation, like when things happen, it's like documented pretty fast. And having this retrospective like piece from time during like oblasts that weren't really even like so many parts of Ukraine that literally don't even get news at all.
Yeah,
No
like
idea what's happening
what are you
there.
doing in Cherkasy? You know?
For right, exactly. So this type of stuff will be very important. Or like even people that were like, what was happening in like
Yeah, but this also
southwestern
means I need
Ukraine?
to spend more time in areas that are not like constant fighting, which I don't do. I don't spend a lot of time going out to do that to film. I have avoided Odessa. I should probably go to Odessa and I should
Why
film
have you
there.
avoided? I want to go there. Why have you avoided it?
I because like all the offers are like it's like go come to the Odessa theater and come do this and come do that, and it's like, oh, that's very nice
I
and
like
very high
touristy
cultured, but
stuff.
yeah, it feels a little touristy. It feels a little touristy, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
feel it.
probably should, but no, I have my areas of interest are somewhere else.
True. It's fine. There will be other people
Hey
for
Squid,
tourists
thanks
and
for the
stuff
$10
too.
donation. Appreciate.
I get caught between that often because it's like, I mean, especially when you go to new places, even though you're there to report on conflict stuff, it's like, oh, I want to see this, I want to experience it, I want to see what the people are like. But it's almost like, it's not really my purpose. You know, I'm here to report on the conflict and what's happening on the front and share the stories of the people involved there. So I fully get it. I understand that, but I still want to go to the Carpathians. Like I want to go there
Oh,
and do
dude,
like
I gotta go to the Carpathians
yeah,
sometimes and not do mushrooms, man. It
yep.
seems like a beautiful, beautiful place. I hear
Gorgeous. It
nothing but
reminds me of Alaska.
nice
It looks
things
like
about the
Alaska there.
Carpathians. I've
Yeah.
never been to Alaska. Um,
I lived there. I lived there for 4 years.
oh, cool. So
Yeah,
what do you think
in
about
Fairbanks.
this idea that the sale of Alaska was illegal, that
Okay, I
you're a
debunked it.
Russian citizen?
I debunked that.
The
I
underscore
just
No?
squid
it's too much.
has
It was too much.
donated
It's
$10.
like I get it
Not
though.
as
The
much as
rhetoric
I would
about
like
it,
to,
about
but I hope
Russia
it helps.
restoring their purchases of
Your
their
work
like
is a
they
very
didn't have
important one
Alaska
and
in
you're
there.
amazing
Okay,
at
and
it.
then the
Hope you come
billboard
out of
that
this
I actually
ban
did
cycle
more research on
stronger
that
than
billboard
ever.
that was posted by the local authority that had Alaska on it, and it was an Alaska. It was Alaska Trailer Company. It
Yeah,
had
it was a
nothing to.
private
It,
institution.
yeah, it was a private thing, so there was a
But
lot of
that's
hype.
why that's what I see. That's what I did with my title. Is I said Russian nationalists want back Alaska because there are Russian nationalists. If you go on the Telegram channel, those dudes
Oh yeah,
want
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Alaska. They
Oh
want it
yeah.
back.
Oh
And
yeah.
and there are government
Yep.
officials like Medvedev who angle towards that to rile those people up. But from
Yep.
the official stance of the Russian government, while it is supposed to be like it's supposed to be like aggressive, this like move, it is supposed to basically say we still have authority to go into. I remember at the start of the invasion, part of the justification was, hey, didn't we invest so much into Ukraine? This feels like them expanding this, like, hey, during the Soviet Union we invested all this stuff all across all these lands, so actually in a way we have ownership of it. Is a way of them trying to expand the amount of power and influence they have. It's just that it doesn't mention Alaska by name, but technically Alaska would be covered, but it's just they won't do anything because they can't do anything.
No. State Department left a remark like, "Oh, they said that, haha." Like they're not getting it back. Too bad. But beyond that, yeah, Alaska would be the last place you'd want to go to for an invasion, I guess. Like the civilians are in the trees. Like
Not if you're the Chinese in
snipers in the
Fallout,
trees.
though. They invaded Alaska. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's silly. Like everyone has weapons there. You can go into Walmart, buy a Glock, put it on, walk out with it. It's great. You know, it's open carry state, Second Amendment support, and God fearing state up there. That's just massive state, bigger than Texas. Everything's massive in Alaska, though. They say everything's bigger in Texas. Everything's massive.
I think
in
they downsize it on the map, don't they? I know, like when you look at traditional maps, like they do that to Africa, and I know they do that to other areas too.
You're not even making it past the western region of Alaska. Like you're not getting through that. Like you have to be helicoptered over there. Like other than like the 3 major highways which connect the center part of Alaska, which go from Fairbanks to Anchorage. God damn you. And then also eastern Alaska. Like there's literally highway 1, 2, and 3. That's it. 3 highways in the whole state. And western Alaska, you have to be airlifted into there, and it's village and tribal stuff going on there, and they have tribal laws, and it's like, boy, that's the last place you'd want to go. I'm telling you, everybody's armed. There's the military is all over the state, right? We got the Army there, the Navy, the Marine Corps, everyone's there. It'd just be a bad idea.
The thing is, let's be blunt, invading the United States is a fool's errand. Fool's errand is not possible. And I mean, even if let's say we're in a situation where America like semi collapsed and it's like a full on like Civil War style situation that they talk about in the movies and comic books. Even in that situation, invading the United States would be a bitch. It's separated by 2 gigantic oceans, meaning that everything that you supply is going to have to be maintained from overseas if you're going to try to establish any bridgehead or landing. There's more guns than people in the entire country. We have thousands upon thousands of tanks and missiles and stuff in reserve, and it's
a bad move.
And we have a pretty decent sized population too, and a pretty big military culture. So even if we were all fighting each other, the Chinese all fought each other, but when the Japanese invaded, they all united and fought the Japanese. If you guys look, as much as we like Republicans and Democrats get each other's throats, if fucking Xi Jinping decided that Washington State was actually a province of Wuhan, China, or something, like that unity immediately.
The nucleus.
There's nothing that unites a people like foreigners, and especially when foreigners attack you.
Especially America, especially United States.
Yes.
Oh boy, we would be unified immediately. That's what it sucks. I mean, it's truth, right? We were attacked 9/11, unified everyone.
Pearl Harbor,
man. At Pearl Harbor, everyone in the United States became hawkish. We all did. Everyone, or people that were in tune with the current events. I shouldn't say everyone, but like the majority were. But yeah, that would definitely unify us, like rallying around a common enemy. Unfortunately, I wish it could be happening with Russia, and it has with some conservatives and definitely
in Ukrainian society. It has. If you look at there's been polling. I know the Kiev Institute of Sociology was like before the war, like 29% of Ukrainians believe the country was uniting and working together in that way, and afterwards I think it's like 60 to 62, 63% believe. So that has increased in Ukraine, and I think in Europe, in Eastern Europe, that has increased somewhat, but it's all a question of proximity to violence. It seems like the more people feel like they can divide themselves with barriers between it's them and their kids in the line of fire, the more they feel safe. But that, I think, is a mistake, because we are more globalized than people realize. Even if America itself isn't invaded or America itself attacked, NATO state is attacked, that could drag us into war. And even if a NATO state is attacked and we try to get out of it, our main export market is the Europeans. The Europeans have the second largest reserve currency in the world when it comes to the euro. We have built up economic and cultural and deep ties, intellectually and economically, with the Europeans over decades. They go down, it's going to not only hurt us, it's going to hurt the whole world. Outside of North America, Europe is one of the wealthiest, if not per capita, one of the wealthiest continents in the world. It would not only affect us, it'd affect everyone else. It'd have cascading effects that would hurt us, even if you tried to divide yourself directly from the violence. So I think that while it is true that there's a difference between your guys on the front lines dying, people should not pretend that America, like this is all like a charity effort of the United States. America has real interests at stake here that make it motivated to want to do this. And I think that's something that politicians need to be better at explaining to their populaces. Yes, the Russian invasion is horrific. Yes, the Ukrainian people deserve freedom. Yes, the Ukrainian people are pushing towards a system of government that is better than the one that they're leaving, and the Russians try to drag them back to. These are all true things. It is an anti-colonial struggle, but like all these things are nice stories that make it easier to serve your interests.
Yeah, 100%. And now explain to my European viewers, because I have questions while you were talking here, and some of them are the same. Why is the U.S. southern border so important to the whole situation right now? Because obviously, like, we're talking about Ukraine, but
Also, you're still trying to get me to go to the southern border before I leave, right?
I am. I'm trying to get down there, bro.
What do you think about
that same spot?
When would you want to
at.
go? Because I got something in early March. I got something in mid-March. I mean, early Feb, mid-Feb. Maybe late Feb or right before I went to Ukraine. I think I could do it.
When is right before Ukraine again?
Mid-March.
I could swing that.
You think you could do mid-March? We go south, because this is how I'd open it. I'd open it like, hey, for some reason, down here is important for the war in Ukraine, apparently. And then I would want to go around and be like, so I would like to go around and be like, so how would you say that this issue is entwined with the Russian invasion? And just see people just look at this in complete confusion. I want it to be confusing. I wanted people in the future to be as dumbfounded as we are right now, looking at the footage when they look at it 20, 30 years from now. That's what I want to get out of it. Just to be clear, that I am interested in catching stories as well. But from my filmmaking perspective, my job down there is to catch people on screen being dumbfounded, because it is dumbfounding. That doesn't mean I'm going to ask them to be dumbfounded on stream, but that's what's going to happen. I mean, if I ask a bunch of people from Guatemala, like, so what do you think about like the tank shipments in relation to your coming here? They probably won't even know. I think 99.9% of them don't even know these issues are related in Congress right now.
Not at all. They don't know what it's an invasion. That's all they're told. You go down there. Hi, I'm Dylan Burns. I came from Ukraine's front lines. I've seen the Russian invasion. Have like photos for them. Have pictures, and it's like artillery systems, HIMARS. Whatever.
So when you invade America, do you ride this tank, or do you use this model?
Which one of these do you think would be most useful for you right now at the border? Tell me. And they'll be like, I don't need any of that. Oh, but that's I come from the invasion of Ukraine, so I'm just asking because you're told it's an invasion, so I just want to make sure you have everything you need down.
But I don't want to. But we got to make sure we film an actual piece as well, because I don't want to just go in and like use these people like props for my movie and leave. I mean, we need to spend time. We got to spend time humanizing and making sure we do an actual story.
Do you watch any of Channel 5 stuff, Andrew?
Yeah, I did. I was a little frustrated at his statement around the war in Ukraine. He tried to tie it in with his recent stuff around fentanyl addiction. I think his recent stuff has been good, but he's also he's kind of I don't want to say, what's the word? People don't want to touch him right now.
Right. Yeah. He's got some other problems going on the side. Like physically touch him, or
no, like because of the rape.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant, the physical part of it.
Yeah, right? I didn't want to beat around the bush. I just get straight to
There's no beat. We're on YouTube now. You don't have to censor yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're on YouTube.
You just can't. What else? You just can't show people dying like vividly on YouTube, and you'll be fine.
I heard that you can't show combat footage, but you can only show the gun firing. You can't.
And that's coming from someone that used to play combat footage all the time on this channel. I can't, because I'll get
immediately anyway. Like
I don't want to risk it. Yeah, they were community striking me for it, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm not gonna risk it. I have a Discord server for that now, so.
That's baffling, because I released footage of me getting bombed on my main channel, and I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm fine. But I'm on this channel. I do not on my second channel. I'm just doing this. I'm just talking about politics, and I get monetized. It's so confusing.
As long as it's yourself getting blown up, it's okay. You can't show others getting blown up.
That can't be the rule.
It says like civilians and like in distress, and like children specifically, like women and children, and like basically like civilians that are devastated by like a Russia. Let's say, for example, like a city gets shelled by Russia, and like there's dead civilians. You can't have that anymore on your YouTube channel.
Well,
or you'll get community strike.
Combat footage okay if it's like censored? Like what if
it's like so?
Because like it can't be a situation where I can't upload combat footage because. I've had soldiers wear GoPros and stuff, and if I ever get something back from that, I don't want to. I want to
keep it like just keep it the equipment getting blown up. That's what I've been doing. Like a tank, I'll play a video of a tank getting destroyed or a truck getting blown up or something. It just can't be people. You can't have people in it.
All right.
Like as like they can be in it, but they can't be killed or injured from from the devastation or from the war.
That
That's a big problem. A lot of history channels are having this problem right now because obviously they have documented historical atrocities that civilians have gone through on their channels, and like, is that going to be stricken? Like, that's a lot of major history channels are moving off of YouTube. It's like a whole wave right now.
Yeah, I saw
So
like Armchair Historian is like,
yeah, that's a big one.
over,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a concern. So yeah, there's a lot of self-censoring type shit you got to do here, but in terms of what you talk about, there isn't as much censoring as there is on Twitch, which is insane. Like having a band, like I can imagine like talking about a banned YouTuber and then getting banned for playing, like just talking about that band.
Well, you can talk about it, you just can't show them.
Oh, you were reacting to what he was saying. You weren't.
Yes,
like,
that counts because I showed them.
That's too much. That's just too much. Too much BS. Too much garbage. Anyways, where were we going with that?
Basically talking about a banned streamer. It's like talking about the Prophet Muhammad. You can't show. You can't display. It's like you can talk about them, like you can refer to them, but you're not allowed to show any depictions.
Red triangles intensify.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Well, no, I'm being serious. It's like that. It's like the Prophet Muhammad. You can't show. You can't display. It's the same rules. Destiny is treated like the Prophet Muhammad by Twitch.
Yeah, you show his image. You're done. You're done. You're out of there. But we were talking about that because Andrew Callaghan, Channel 5, who again has lots of issues, but also I feel like he's moving more and more right wing. Like he's definitely going that way for sure. He moved to a red state, and it's like evident.
I don't even care. I don't care about that. All I care about is the footage is good. All I care is the footage is good. The documentary is good. I don't care if he's
you play him on mute.
If he's an ANCAP.
You play him on mute.
Do I play him on mute?
Yeah, because he had a lot of his own opinions over the.
Yeah, he's starting to interplay. He is starting to intersplice more and more of it, and some of it, it's like it's kind of just theorizing. It's like that's
what I was talking about.
That does distract me, I will say. But but again, I don't care what he personally believes, as long as it doesn't start to bleed so much into it that it's distracting from the topic at hand, and it starts bending the story towards a slant. When I say bending it towards a slant, like he's dragging the story out of where it was like in its natural environment and what made people like All Gas No Breaks and Channel 5 in the first place, which is him showing people in their natural environment as is, no slant. And I'm not saying there can't be any commentary from him. I'm just saying that if he starts doing this to hammer a single point home, I think it could take away a lot of the charm that he benefited on to get popular.
I like All Gas No Breaks so much because there was so much memes. Like every video he had memes in there too, and it was just people doing regular shit. I bring this up because his recent border reports at the Arizona border and then the detention center, like that's the type of shit I wanted to do. Not his style, obviously. There's no way I can replicate that because he's got his own style. But I wanted to go down there and actually do some serious, like, here's some migrants, let me talk to them, or here's the board, like, and I got to do a little bit, but not very much, like, not as much as I wanted to at all, zero. So, well, I saw his reports, like, oh man, that's the type of shit I wanted to do. That's like the spirit of what I want to do. I want to go down there, I want to talk to people, see the situation. But I went down there right before I went to Ukraine this last time on a random Tuesday. And for the first day, no crossings, not a single one. I went to Elon Musk's spot, nothing. And then the second day and the third day, it was raining, and the National Guard told me they don't cross when it rains. I'm like, bro, what? I thought there's an invasion here. What do you mean they don't cross when it rains?
The Russian army stops during rain.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I was there for 3 days and didn't see anything, and people were mad. I'm like, bro, I can't just create migrants out of thin air and like film them. Like, I'm here to report on the invasion of the southern border.
It wasn't an invasion. You couldn't find the invasion.
I couldn't find the invasion. I couldn't find it. There was in certain spots apparently. Like I got told that, hey, there's a hot spot in Arizona. And it was like a 12-hour drive to get there. They would have probably been gone by the time we showed up anyways. There's a hot spot in Southeast. You can call CENTCOM. You can call them and ask them, hey, where is the hottest spots right now on the border? And they'll tell us. And we can go there. As long as there's no standoff. Like the park in Eagle Pass, I don't think we could go to that right now because the National Guard shut it down. So I don't think there's public access to that right now. But other places, though, in Del Rio and others, easily. I can show you literally the river and Americans living on the river with MAGA Trump flags. Like you could see Mexico. Literally, you can see the river.
That must be weird. You've come like thousands of miles, and the first thing you see as you crossing the United States is basically turn around. Turn around
from the ones that want to close the border, right? The ones that want to have the barbed wire in the water, which is insane too. I saw the buoys that I've talked to you about this, and they have strips of barbed wire on them, like that go around. So like
I saw the ones with saws on them.
Yeah, say you're struggling in the water and you need to grab something, you go to grab it and it's like you cut your hand like immediately, or you cut yourself and you drown. It's
I
horrible.
think they're trying to work off the same logic that a lot of the right in Italy wanted, which is if you just turn back the boats or basically let the people die, then eventually they'll get the message and they'll stop. But the problem is, depending on how bad the crisis is, and some of the cartel violence down south is pretty horrific. People will take that risk still, and then all you've done is make it so, yeah, some migrants have turned back, but then some migrants go and they just die anyway, and then some
Yeah.
still get through. So it's a question of like how many are you willing to kill in order to deter others from coming? Because then people start making the equation of like, okay, do I stay with the cartels or do I try to cross that like barbed wire river that could drown me and my kids?
And they stay with the coyotes, the cartel that bring them across. But why is I guess we branched into
We were going to talk
details of the
about Ben Shapiro
border.
Destiny at one point, weren't we?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
debate.
I was gonna ask you what you thought of it, but we kind of went through the Ukraine part already. I told you how I felt about that. But no, I was gonna say while we're waiting for the Senate bill to get through, do you have confidence that we're gonna see a text tomorrow after Biden releasing a statement today? Do you feel like we're gonna see a text on their deal from the Senate by tomorrow? Or do you think it'll be
I
next
mean,
week?
I don't know exactly when they're going to get the Senate deal. I don't think the Senate is going to be the problem. Problem is going to be the House. And once the final text is out there, that's the thing I'm waiting for, is for the final text so I can see the details. Because depending on how much the Biden administration gives, is going to become more and more politically difficult, and it's probably going to come with more public pressure for Mike Johnson to take the opportunity from actors outside of Donald Trump. So the question is going to be, are there other actors that can push Mike Johnson to do this and protect him from a challenge from within his party, from Trump loyalists who are going to try to stop him in order to try to help buoy Trump's campaign? And so that mean we're talking about someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's just talked about openly that if he passes any Ukraine aid, then she's gonna vote to vacate. She's gonna start a crisis. I am betting on Mike Johnson trying to take a safer route and just sticking with Trump. And the reason why is that that's what his record has shown to me. What his record has shown for me all the way back in 2022 when he led the effort to try to challenge the results of the election in the House of Representatives. In the House of Representatives, there was an effort to overturn the results of the election. Mike Johnson led that in favor of Donald Trump.
Wow.
So that guy, yeah, I'm gonna bet he's gonna go with Trump. He's gonna stick with Trump. And I'm going to bet that he's gonna make that bet because he also knows that the people who are telling him to make a deal, those people also understand that another Republican House race right now would be pretty catastrophic for the Republican Party. Because after so many messes with Tom Emmer, with Steve Scalise, with Kevin McCarthy, with Jim Jordan, all the people they were burning through.
Nobody's getting nobody unless you're like literally a Trump like cup his balls, like you're not relevant, or you're not going to hold a leadership position within the
It's just they
Republican
don't
Party.
need more chaos after having accomplished nothing during this administration. Um, so I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on that. That's why I think he's going to take the safe bet and stick with Trump. And so that means we're going to have to find another way around the Senate deal to get Ukraine aid through. Now, Mitch McConnell has proposed going back to square one and separating a deal for Ukraine aid from the border and just passing it separately. But if that is what ends up happening, and I said this on Twitter, I said it would be cosmic horror in a way, and kind of like a cosmic horror comedy, because we just spent all this time doing all this just to end up right where we started and pass the original legislation. That would be insane. What I would imagine is that in an attempt to do that, they would try to change it so they'd maybe reduce the amount of aid to Ukraine, probably in the financial area, because the package we're going to give isn't just military aid; it also has some financial aid. And I think the Biden administration, now seeing that the European financial aid has gone through, maybe in an effort to jam it through quicker, might reduce the amount of financial aid, considering that's the area that Republicans talk about the most, where they're worried about fraud. Whereas in military aid does vaguely have more support than the financial aid because it's harder to, fuck up military
Yeah.
aid. So I think they might do that, but that would also mean possibly a smaller package. And again, I'm just kind of spitballing, guessing what other pathways they're going to use here, because if it can't be, we just do a whole year without American aid and wait till the election is over and hope that the Democrats take the House and keep the Senate, or that if the Republicans take the Senate, Mitch McConnell will take the Senate, and therefore, we can't wait a year.
We can't, and it's also concerning to me again when we bring it up constantly. Like in the House, if you again we separate it and say we vote on Ukraine by itself, what's to say that they're not just going to kill that too, or they won't just kill the Ukraine aid on its own, which I believe. Right? Yeah, they separate it. It would likely get through the Senate because again, it would likely be a different deal, less money could get through the Senate. But the House, it seems to be
the main problem is gonna get having Mike Johnson bring it to the House floor for a vote.
Yeah,
every Democrat is gonna vote in favor of it. If it's independent, I'm sure they can get enough Republicans to get it through the House. They can get it through the Senate. Democrats control the Senate. So it's a question of Mike Johnson bringing it to the House floor for a vote. But if it gets through after Mike Johnson brought it to the House floor for a vote, there has to be something to stop the fringes of his party from screwing him over and doing a recall vote.
Yeah, it would be another battle, Dylan. Exactly, Chad. So
and let's be clear, they only have a 2-seat House majority. So either the Democrats would have to save him, or he would have to literally be just one congressman who called the recall. So it would have to be like one lone congressman calling a recall vote, being politically isolated. It would be politically catastrophic for that one congressperson. So I don't think that would be the case, because I don't think anyone would go into that, would call a recall vote without knowing that they had someone else to back them up. So it's.
Do you think the Dems would listen? Do you think they would?
Some Dems have suggested it. Last time when it happened with Kevin McCarthy, they didn't.
Yeah.
So there is a record of them not doing it, because in their mind, if they're gonna save a Republican House Speaker, they need a concession, and the concession shouldn't just be, okay, the shrunken Ukraine aid that you've delayed for months, we'll have it go through, but we'll save you in this. So Democrats want more than that. But in this instance, I don't know. I think saving him just for this vote, knowing that it's not going to have an impact on anything else, I could understand it. If it's only in this vote, just through a means of political utility and nothing else.
That's probably what it would be, though, to get the bill through, to get the funding through, to get the money through, to save Mike.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. If you're Mike Johnson, how does that look?
True. Yeah, you're about to have he would be a swamp creature immediately. He would be a rhino. Fucking. Yeah. Oh, no.
Everybody that voted against him would. He
would be immediately rendered irrelevant. But again, chat, that's the problem. What me and Dylan are talking about is a macro problem in the whole party, and that's nothing me and Dylan are going to solve through this conversation. But we're trying to reveal to you the levels of problems there are to even just like get this thing through. It's like multiple. It's like
getting bipartisan compromise done with the Republican Party runs through this problem that we're talking about on every single issue of getting anything done, and that's why in the last 2 years nothing has been gotten done.
Nothing. Just
at least during the first 2 years, there was the CHIPS Act, there was the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, there was of course the child tax credits which were coming to people, there were the COVID recovery, there was stuff there's even if it wasn't as widespread as I would want, there was stuff happening. Now the only stuff that happens is the stuff that you can get through like budget reconciliation, but even that stuff's being delayed because again, this was all supposed to be settled in October of last year.
Yeah. It's horrible. We're in a horrible situation, but we need to talk about our economy doing well and inflation's being
3.3% GDP growth for this quarter.
I'm talking. I don't care. Listen, right-wing media will make you think otherwise and keep you all doom and gloom about it. People like those that are on the left or liberals or just the news need to report when our economy is doing well, and it's doing well at this time.
I think a reason why the left is somewhat hesitant to just glorify the good GDP growth rates, even though they're good, is a lot of them also understand that a lot of the cost of living issues that Americans are dealing with, whether it has to do with high cost of debt or, for example, high cost of living, which is a really big issue right now as we have a massive housing shortage, which is contributing to a homelessness shortage. Because of these other
call out wins when wins happen, though. You know, I mean,
they do need to call out wins, but I think the left fights with itself all the time, and I think that since they know these other economic factors that they've been trying to fight on, for example, through expanding unionization and issues that they care about, they're less excited to champion it as much as the Biden administration would want them to. But I think that's different amongst, I think, maybe the more centrist members of the party, and this is something we should hammer on because even though like there's those other economic factors that were hurting working class people, even before the 2020 election, those issues were there before the COVID crisis and after the COVID crisis. The difference is we thought we were going to enter a recession and we didn't. And that's something that the Biden administration does need to hammer home. And this is just an example of that, which not only did we not enter a recession, but we have more jobs than we entered COVID with. And that is a real accomplishment of the Biden administration. Not only did he successfully go through COVID recovery and do it much better than any other G7 nation, but he now is adding millions upon more jobs on top of that. And the CHIPS Act and the infrastructure investments are paying off when it comes to our domestic manufacturing jobs. That's part of what it's coming from. That isn't it. There's other factors as well. But yeah, this is something he should campaign on. It's just that people like me are also going to remember, other cost of living problems that just GDP growth rate doesn't immediately equal to. For example, if a company grows, it doesn't necessarily immediately translate to its workers every time.